Welcome to Coco's Connection, the podcast where we deep dive into inspiring stories, real conversations, and the connections that shape our lives. I'm your host, Coco, and each week we'll explore the people, ideas, and experiences that help us grow and connect in meaningful ways. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get connected. Welcome, everyone, to Coco's Connection, the podcast where we explore the power of human connection, communication, and personal growth. I'm your host, Coco, and in today's episode, we're diving into the art of listening, how it shapes our relationships and transforms the way we interact with the world. If you ever felt unheard or struggled to connect deeply with others, this episode is for you. And the title of this episode is called The Art of Listening, Transforming Relationships One Conversation at a Time. And so I'd love to start out with my scripture of the week. And it is actually kind of goes in hand with it. It says James 1:19. It says, "Understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry." And so as we dive into this, we're going to first talk about what is active listening. So we're going to define active listening versus passive hearing. And active listening involves fully engaging with the speaker through eye contact, nodding, and responding thoughtfully, while passive hearing is merely just perceiving sound without true comprehension or engagement. It just means that you're hearing them, but you're not hearing them. And that goes for all types of relationships and connections. The importance of being fully present in a conversation, it just means it's giving your undivided attention to the speaker and maintaining eye contact, avoiding distractions like phones or background noises, and actively engaging with what is being said. So many times we can go out with our friends and we're like, oh, we got to take a selfie. We got to do this. We have to, do it for the gram or do it for, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. But there's times when you just really need to connect, and we don't know what that person is going through and what situation that they really just need to have that conversation and really need to connect with someone on a personal level. And that's how you build your friendships. We don't know. It could be a situation where seasonally something has happened in their lives and they're just now being able to talk about it. And so they're like, maybe this is the opportunity if we go out to tea or lunch or whatever with your friend, and you're like, hey, I need to talk to someone. I mean, it's great to have therapists. I believe that's awesome. And it's good to, confide in your spouse on those situations. And then there's times where you need a friend just to listen. Because sometimes it's not always about having a response, but it's about active listening. And again, it's just more so being present also involves practicing patience and resisting the urge to formulate a response while the other person is speaking, and responding with thoughtful follow-up questions or affirmations, such as, that makes a lot of sense. Can you tell me more about that? Or, I can see why this is important to you. Those types of things, instead of we're just like, and I know a lot of people say, well, I want to make sure I say the right thing, but even as Christians, we have to ask, it says, be slow to speak and swift to hear. So we have to be swift to hear what they're saying, and even sometimes hearing their hearts, because we can have that disconnect if someone says something out of anger. And if you look at, even with relationships, I can say this with my husband, he has said some things, and I'm like, why would you say that to me? And it's how I respond back, because I need to understand his heart. Not saying every situation is that way. Some people really are just rude. But if you understand and getting to know that person and you have a connection with that person, you'll understand their hearts. And again, that's why it's such a big deal for being present in that conversation, because you'll see how their body language, their eye contact, verbal cues, it enhances the listening both sides. Nonverbal cues, such as maintaining a steady eye contact, nodding, leaning in slightly, signal to the speaker you're engaged and ready to, and you're very interested in what they're talking about. So, when you are talking with someone and you're having a conversation, you don't want to just cross your arms. You know, those nonverbal cues are definitely something that they're saying, well, are they really interested in, or you're just kind of staring off in space, thinking about, they could be thinking that you're not thinking about whatever, but just keeping that engagement. Like, you don't have to like stare at them point blank, but, just keeping that eye contact, keep it engaged. Because, it is a little weird. I think sometimes being engaged and being fully focused, it's hard for, I believe, our generation a lot, because the disconnect of whether or not like we can talk behind a screen, and that is one of the struggles. I believe that's a big disconnect in order for us to truly get back to that connection. Um, and then it is a challenge, and so I believe that, how does this impact the listening on relationship? How good listening skills, they build trust, they build intimacy, such as like making others feel valued. So when you're with your spouse and you're listening, and there's, it makes them feel validated, because and valued, because so many times we can just say, yeah, I'm listening. Or even if it's with your child, when they, sometimes we are tired from when we go to work, or you could be working or just had a long day, and your child is trying to talk and communicate and connect with you, regardless of what age. It's easier when they are a little bit older and they can communicate, but they still are those cues that you're embracing them, and you're saying, hey, let's talk, or let's, it may be a long day, but taking that time to truly connect with your child, with your spouse, they feel valued, they feel loved, and that's ultimately the goal of connection, and it's getting those deeper connections every single day. And then another thing is, that can really either strengthen or weaken your relationship. A lot of, we have it, there's disagreements in relationships, there's things that we may not agree on, but how do you truly resolve those? By hearing that, the other person's concerns. So it could just be something that, you call someone, or text the wrong thing, another disconnect, and they could take it one way, and it's like they're upset, but then, after you talk with them over the phone, not via text, because sometimes text, again, there's no tone in that. So you get to talk to them either face to face or on the phone, and you're able to resolve those disconnects, and you can understand where they're coming from. And the whole goal is to have the role of empathy, as I talked previously. And that's a way to really connect, because I believe that our generation and our society is really lacking empathy and validation in deep conversations. Deep conversations are hard because they're not always, yay, I'm happy, but they're hard conversations where it may feel uncomfortable. It may not feel the best. But again, the truth shall make you free. And yes, I've had some hard conversations, but I do know they've made me a better person. And being that effective listener has really inspired me to truly, it's a daily thing. Are we perfect? No. But we want to grow in those areas so we can deepen our connections and deepen our relationships with one another. And just giving you some practical tips. This is like definitely something that I believe you should, take from this to improve your listening skills. Um, it's the power of paraphrasing and summarizing in conversations, such as, repeating back key points to confirm your understanding. So you're saying, so it's like, so what you're saying is, or even summarizing a lengthy discussion to ensure clarity. Um, so you come back and say, so you feel this way, or you're saying this situation. I'm just going to give you an example. So I hurt someone's feelings and I say, so I made you feel this way. And so I'm explaining back to them how I made them feel. And so that clarifies I'm listening to them. I'm saying what hurt their feelings. And so I can empathize and I can c- correct that behavior. Again, it's all about accountability in this sense. So another point is ask open-ended questions to encourage deeper discussions, such as what was the most challenging part of that experience for you, or how did the situation make you feel, or you know, how do you believe that your relationship is going? And so like I had this conversation with my husband the other day and I'm like, so what is something that I know that you don't think anyone else would know? Vice versa, I asked the same question about me. And those things that we can connect on and have that conversation of, hey, we've been married for almost 13 years, but is there anything that I may not know that, you know, something that can connect us in a way that it's just your spouse or your friends or whatever it is that you feel comfortable, again, comfortable sharing. It's not, you don't have to tell everybody your, your whole life story. Um, but those mindful things of just listening and understanding what's going on. And finally, I would say just practicing mindfulness and to stay present in the moment. So many times we can just nod off and, disengage, but be intentional, even when you feel like, oh, because we've been so conditioned, even with social media. I'm telling you, it's like you scroll, 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 scroll. So our brain attention span is like now it's like that's too long. 2 minutes. Oh, no, that's too long. I need 30 seconds of pleasure and dopamine. So those things we have to be mindful of. That even if you take, like, I had a friend, we were just talking today. We're taking a break from social media for a while. I'm doing the podcast, but we're taking a break from just mindless scrolling. Now, if it's something that you watch, that's fine. But the mindless scrolling is what they want us to do and want us to not truly connect and have those deep relationships. And so I believe that what I just want you to guys to even email me or even comment below. Tell me a story about where listening changed your perspective or improved your relationship. I want to know this because those things inspire us all. You can encourage someone else who's listening to this podcast as well. DM me or email me your experiences at Coco's Connection Podcast at gmail.com. So I want you to really just, we may feature you on a future episode. I really want to know what you guys are thinking, you know, and it's important again as we connect and as we improve our relationship and our listening skills. That's one of the key factors in connecting. And I just want you guys to really take this. And if there's anything else, you have any suggestions, any type of topics that you want to hear, let me know. Um, Let me know in the comments. Email me. I'm on Instagram. DM me. Coco's Connection Podcast, and follow me and like and share. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I look forward to talking with you next week. And always remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay connected, keep listening with intention.